I've been running a small development agency for the better part of the past 2.5 years. I run it online, I travel a lot, I'm in London at the minute. Sometimes it's a challenge to balance between operations and growth. Like you have to both work in the business and on the business when you are a small business. There is no way to get out of that. Like you have to work your way out of that. But there's this weird transition period which is not always clear. And I wanted to take a kind of walk through the different phases that I've had. I tried initially to basically work on the business as much as possible and did not work in the business. And that was actually a mistake. What ended up happening was like client fulfillment was really bad. I basically contracted out to a bunch of people that I didn't vet properly. And in return for that, the service was terrible. And so basically things really didn't go to plan. And that was a very painful mistake. But at the same time, I have also been stuck working only in the business. And then your business kind of stagnates and you'll never get out of where you are because you have not set enough time aside to work on it. Now, basically when I started by contracting out to freelancers and contractors as soon as possible. If I could start again today, I would not have done that. I would have contracted out a little bit, like the course fulfillment, but I would have vetted them, spending much more time vetting. I think that was a really key part that I did not do. And that allows you to more confidently know that somebody's working in the business better. Sometimes I've also been in situations where I have to write the code myself for whatever reason. Either because I don't have, like the client isn't paying me enough to outsource it, and so I need to just do the thing myself, or because the client wants me specifically. And in that case, you just have to suck it up and do the work, but also find a way to carve out little pockets of time. Weekends tend to be good for this, right? Because you're not technically on the clock. And so if you can set aside weekends to work on the business, that can work super nice. Now, the way things have been working recently, the way I've been doing it more recently, has been that I have timers, and I will time myself while I'm working on the business and while I'm working in the business. And at the end of the day, I write down those times. It's not something I've been doing for very long, but it's been something that I've been doing for a short term period, but it's been working really, really nice. And it's not because I don't do a particular amount of time every day. I just time myself to consciously be aware of which mode of work I'm in. And so when I see that I'm only using one timer too much, and this is like on iOS 17, you can now have several timers running at the same time. The train is super loud. When I see one timer is super used and the other one is barely being touched, then I know it's because I'm not doing enough work either in or on business. That's been a practice that I've implemented recently that I found super helpful. And I think I would have implemented it earlier if I could have. What has happened in the past is sometimes working, on the business isn't the most attractive task because you have to do something that's unfamiliar and uncomfortable. And you have to fail at something for a while. And that happens a lot. In order to move to the next level, you must do things that you don't understand. You must understand the things and then you move up in level. But as a result, sometimes I've procrastinated those things for a long time. In timing myself when I'm working on one or the other, it has forced me to acknowledge that I'm not working on the business enough or whatever. And that's been really useful for me. So that's something that a little piece that's been helpful to me. Now, other than that, I would say delegating and hiring out is really how you level up ultimately. Hiring a designer is one of the better things I've done. And you can continue to do that at pretty much any scale, but you must relinquish control in order to do so. In order to spend more time on the business, you must relinquish control of what's happening in the business. So firstly, whatever client fulfillment, you must outsource lower leverage activities. So for me, that's programming. Other than that, as a kind of general update, today has been focused on working a lot in the business, to be fair. I haven't found enough time to work kind of on things. I spent a lot of time brainstorming last night. There's a lot of stuff that feels very unfamiliar to me as far as on the business stuff, and that is something that I frankly have been procrastinating the past few months, and I recently acknowledged that, and so I'm kind of forcing myself through that. I'm gonna be working through that tonight, but pretty simple day, just at home working at the new flat in London. So that's been a pretty good day.